Greetings to all my tech heads out there in the KevTechify nation, and if you're new here, welcome. In this episode, we're going to look at device discovery with Cisco Discovery Protocol, or CDP. We'll be discussing a CDP overview, configuring and verifying CDP, and then we're going to look at discovering devices using CDP. This episode is part of my series on enterprise networking, security, and automation for the CCNA. I'm Kevin here at KevTechify. Let's get this adventure started. Cisco Discovery Protocol is a Cisco proprietary protocol that collects data about your directly connected neighbors. And it could be hardware, software, device name, details. It'll get all this information and it'll list out who is directly connected to you. Now, it is Cisco proprietary, so only Cisco devices are able to run this. CDP is a Cisco proprietary layer 2, so this is layer 2 protocol, and it gathers information about Cisco devices and it shares this information over the data links. Now, CDP is media independent. Now, it doesn't matter what media you're using. It could be copper, fiber, wireless, whatever you have connecting between your two devices, it doesn't matter. It's also protocol independent, meaning if you're running IP version 4, IP version 6, it doesn't matter. This will communicate with each other on the layer 2. It runs on all these Cisco devices, routers, switches, your access servers. CDP sends periodic advertisements to the connected devices. Now, these advertisements, they share information about the type of the device that is discovered, the name of the devices, and the number and the type of the interfaces. CDP is enabled by default. When you turn on your device, boot it up without any configuration, CDP is turned on. Now, to see what the status is of your CDP, you can do the show CDP command right here. And that'll give you some information about your CDP, if it's running, the versions. Now, to disable it on a specific interface, for some reason you don't want CDP to run on that interface, we can use you go into the interface. So it'd be interface gig 000, interface fast ethernet 001. You go into that interface. Once you're in there, you can say no CDP enable, and that'll turn it off for that interface. No more CDP advertisements will go out of that interface. If you want to turn CDP back on that interface, you just do the CDP enable command, and that'll turn it back on that interface. Once again, you have to be in that interface. If you want to turn CDP off globally on your device, you would use the no CDP run command, and that will turn it off on all the supported interfaces on your device. You do that from global configuration mode. If you want to turn it back on, you use the CDP run command. If you want to get into seeing what the interfaces are that are CDP enabled, we can use the show CDP interface to give you what interfaces that CDP are enabled. I hope you're liking this episode on device discovery with CDP. If you have the time, please leave me a comment and let me know what you think about device discovery with CDP. You can also visit my website at KevTechify.com for all of my details and how to get these episodes in video and podcast form. With CDP enabled, and once again, it is enabled by default, you can issue the show CDP neighbors here from global configuration mode. You can go ahead and enter that command in. When you enter it in, it's going to give you some codes at the top, but down here at the bottom, it is going to list all the devices that are directly connected to it using CDP. Some of the information here that we are looking at is this is the device name. This is the name of that device on the other end of the connection. Once again, they have to be directly connected. The local interface is the interface on the device we're on. And so this gig 001 here, that's on R1. That's the interface we ran the command on. Hold time is how long do I hold that information for. Here are the capabilities. We have an S and an I. The S comes up here to the code saying it's switch. I here is using IGMP. Platform over here, this is the model of that remote switch. So it's a workstation C3560. And then what port is it connected in on that remote switch? It's connected to Fast Ethernet 05. This is on the remote switch. Here's another example. Here we are on router A. So we can see that we're on router A here from our CLI. This is router A right here. Router A is connected to switch, router A is connected to switch A. Router A is also connected to switch B. When we look here, serial 000 on switch A is connected to serial 001 on router B. This is the remote address of that connection. This is our address here. Over here, we don't necessarily know the ports, they're not listed, but we do know that the switch we're connected here to is switch A, and that its IP address is here. When we issue the show CDP neighbors command, we can see that we have two devices listed here. First one we have listed here is switch A. Switch A, once again, we're running this on router A, so when we run this, the connection that is connected to switch A is Fast Ethernet 00. That is this connection right here. The hold time is how long we have that information. Capabilities here, we're saying that this is a switch. Well, switch A is a switch. I is we're using IGMP. The device model is a workgroup switch 2960. And then on that far end of the switch, on switch A, we are connected into Fast Ethernet 02. That is this port right there. We got all of that information from CDP. Now, the next one here is router B. So we're looking at this device right here. Our local port is serial 001. That is right here on our router A, because that's where we're running the command from. Our capabilities here are, we have an R, meaning it's a router. S, I don't think that should be there, so we'll just cross that out. And then I, once again, that we're running IGMP. The model of that FAR device is a 2811. That's a router. And then we are connected into the serial 001 interface. And once again, that is the interface right there. All that information from CDP. If you want to dig into the details a little bit more, or maybe that table is laid out so you can't see all the information you need, we can issue the Show CDP Neighbors Detail. When you do the Show CDP's Neighbors Detail, it's going to list out all that information, but it's going to give you a little bit more information. Or not necessarily more information, it's just going to lay it out so it's a little bit easier to read. And so the device ID, once again, is switch 1. We are running this here on R1 again, so we are connecting into switch 1. The IP address of that connection here is right here, 192.168.1.12. That's the IP address for switch 1. Once again, the far side, the switch is a Cisco work group switch 3560-24TS. It has the capabilities of it's a switch and it's using IGMP. The interface we are connected with on our end here is Gigabit Ethernet 001. And that is our outgoing port. And then the port on the switch is our Fast Ethernet 05. It was my pleasure to provide you with this wonderful episode on device discovery with CDP. If you like this episode and you got value out of it, please click that like button, give a 5-star rating, leave a comment. This all helps me bring you more great content. Please take a minute to subscribe to my channel. All my socials and contact information are on my website, KevTechify.com. There you can find out how to get all of these episodes in video and podcast form. In the upper right is my playlist for my series on enterprise networking, security, and automation for the CCNA. In the bottom right is one of my favorite videos that I linked just for you. Thank you so much for watching this episode of my series on enterprise networking, security, and automation for the CCNA. I'm Kevin. This is KevTechify. I'll see you next time for another great adventure.